Hi guys, this is Bo with We Heart Music Radio, the Weekend Gamer, and we're playing a little bit of, or actually just testing out the Bards Tales 4, Burrows Deep, and it was on sale, so I definitely picked it up. And this is a game I actually wanted to play for a while, but there was really the price point really didn't justify me trying to pay like $50, $60 for this game, which I'm not sure if I want to spend that much money to get. But anyway, so I ended up pulling the triggers. Like I think you can get it for about $40 now on sale. So I thought that's fine. I'll pick it up. And this actually came right after this other terrible Bard's Tale game called Bard's Tales 4, where it wasn't very good. But I did originally bought the fourth game, and it just wasn't exactly how Bard's Tale should have been, which is like a first person perspective with a bunch of classes in your roster group adventuring, kind of like the old Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game, like the Eye of the Beholder, where you go on kind of like maze and labyrinth, and I mean, those are the kind of game I wanted to play. But the Bards Tales 4 from that previous generation wasn't what I wanted, and so this version, the Burrows Deep, looks pretty interesting too, but it doesn't really exactly follow that style of Bards Tale 1, 2, and 3. Instead, it's kind of more modernize it, which I think is fine. And anyway, as you can see, it does offer some kind of like widescreen support, kind of. It's still mostly meant for regular widescreen, but it's fine. I don't think it was one of those games that was actually asking for ultra wide, because the field of perspective isn't doesn't really benefit from anything extra. Anyway, so Barcel's, I have a lot of love for this franchise. The my first role playing game was Bard's Tale 2, which I had spent hours and hours playing, and eventually did beat. And it's the first basically role playing game I've ever played, and so I always have a love for the series. Unfortunately, like 10 years later, I went back to try to play the original Bard's Tale, and it just wasn't very good, because you have to remember that those early computer games doesn't offer a lot of amenities that current modern games offer, which includes auto map for ones, or includes just graphically looks terrible, but it's of its time, and I think if you live through that part, it's different. You just had to live with it, or you didn't know any better that this was pretty amazing. But then once you play more modern games and see some of the stuff that it just just stuff like keeping a log book of all your adventures, or a quest book. Really, times have really changed and evolved. But those early games are, there was nothing like it at that time. So it was a great, fun game. And anyway, so yeah, Bard's Tale. I've always loved the franchise, like I said, but unfortunately, everything that came after Bard's Tales 3 really wasn't what I wanted to love. Anyway, so yeah, Bard's Tale. This new version of the game, Burrows Deep, it's actually in 3D, which is pretty amazing. And but unfortunately, like, I don't really love it. I think uh, it's kind of like clunky in the way its movement, and maybe it's just the engine that they're working on. But you can switch it to grid movement too, I think. So So it's kind of like a fake real time, fake, grid function. So anyway, it's basically it's just not, it's not the greatest 3D perspective game. And what's funny is this game actually doesn't support controller, which is kind of amazing in a modern computer setting, because you have to understand that a lot of modern games, when they make games, they're thinking consoles too. So they want to port it to the Xbox, the PlayStation. So they'll make the computer game and then then export it to those general platform, because I believe they make more sales on those consoles. Unfortunately, PC has kind of like has a bad reputation of not selling many games, even though if you have the right PC, it's such a superior experience than anything that the Xbox or the PlayStation can offer. Anyway, but I don't think it has a controller support, which is pretty awful. I mean, so you have to use your mouse and keyboard to get around, and it's fine. I mean, I guess the video game maker has just PC in mind when they made this game, which is perfectly fine. Which is quite a different mindset from that previous Bard's Tale game, where everything was kind of meant for a console experience. And so, but either way, I think this game is pretty good. I mean, I played at least until I got my first real rogue in my I guess group, and then I solved the quest where we take it to the upland, and I'm kind of stuck now. I don't really know where to go. I think I need to get a grappling hook or something, but other than that, I mean, once I solve that, I'll just move on to the next area. But I'm pretty early in the game, and so far, it's not that challenging. It's just that I'm at a point where I don't know where to go, and I'm just gonna figure it out, or maybe just look online to see what I need to do next. But other than that, it's been pretty good. I love the fact that you can like wander into an area where the monsters are so strong that will like destroy you. So you do have to save often, and I think it does offer you a save anywhere feature. But right now, I just have it'll automatically save when you go to that saving area, whatever. But it does offer a save anywhere feature in case have that style play in mind. So far, I think character creation, it's pretty limited of what that you can offer. I mean, it starts you off as a bard, but you can switch the character to either fighter or magic user or a thief, I think, or a rogue, I guess. And so yeah, right now my favorite character is the rogue, so I obviously changed the character class to rogue. And then if you do that, then the first character that you meet, he becomes the bard, and then I believe if you start off as a bard, that character becomes a fighter. So it kind of like tried to change its character class to fit your gameplay. The music has a lot to do with this new game, which is pretty awesome because the music is actually really good. As you can see in the video, it's actually, you can see the grid light. You can change it to grid option where you can move it in a grid manner, and it's not great. So I eventually turned off, but I was just experimenting here on the grid movement. I just eventually had to turn off. It's just an awful way of playing the game, but it's there for you if you need it. I think it's only in beta mode anyway, so it doesn't really. I don't think it's an aspect that many people will want to use anyway. But anyway, Yeah, it's like I said. So far, I love the game. I think graphically it looks great. Musically, it's pretty amazing, and it has great, excellent voice actors. Um, it's very, I guess, Scottish, or maybe like Gaelic or something. But I love the accent, and um, what else? Yeah, so musically, it's really good. There's certain puzzles that requires you to play a certain tune. So once you learn a tune, you can open up a whole new area of the map, or an inaccessible area that you can play your flute or whatever, and then it'll uh, open up. Same thing with like uh, I guess hidden treasures. You can like play a certain note, and that will reveal the treasure to you. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so they're kind of tying in more like the bard or the music part, which I really love that they incorporate that into the game as part of kind of like a device. Yeah, I guess I haven't remembered having music as part so much as part of the game as like I guess from when I played Zelda, where you had to play your note to a certain tune in order to open up. Like say, I think Wind Waker had a great mechanic that involves music, and so yeah, it's pretty cool. What else? Yeah, so I think this is a great production, and you know, I did scoff originally when I said, "Wow, this game is like $60. It doesn't feel like it should be $60." Here's that character creation screen here I was talking about earlier. So you do start off as a bard, but you can use one of these four um, character type. Unfortunately, the animation and video image or you know your likeness, it's only available to how they render it. So they have pre-made images that you can use, but you can't just create a whole brand new character out of thin air or anything like that. All these are pre-rendered character models and stuff that you can pick from, but they do offer some good choices. So if you want to play an elf, for example, it does look like an elf. Anyway, yeah. So as I was saying, yeah, there was a lot of production value that kind of went into it, and I can see why they can justify asking for $60 for like this game. I do think they do offer like a very base model, yeah, but if you want, I guess, the full experience with extra bonuses and stuff, they do cost a little more. But yeah, for $60, I guess, yeah, it's worth it. Having heard the audio, the great audio, voice production, especially. I'm thinking about all those voice actors that they had to hire. I think, yeah, I guess $60 is justifiable. But you know, from like a consumer player, I really don't want to pay that much if I don't think that the game really justified that much amount. But now having played the game, yeah, I can see where a lot of the money went into just production of this thing. Um, let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, but then again, I think they know there's a certain market where people just won't pay full price. So I'm assuming after a year or so that the game is out, then they do drop the price a bit so that they can get those secondary players to you know, who was on the fence about it to jump in, and so that's what I did. And I, you know, haven't I think I only spent $40 in the game, but it's so far it's really good. The money is well spent, I guess. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna go back and do more. Your upgrade option isn't. I don't think it's as robust as some of the other games I played. Seems very limited in what you can do to upgrade. For example, the rogues option, of like basically four options, and if you want to grow that, you kind of have to put points in all your attack. But there's really not much option you can do. Like you know, for defense, you can only do leather and then ultra leather and super leather or whatever, and that's pretty much about it until the it offer more scope or more upgrades, I guess. But no, yeah, I guess it's we'll see. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna continue playing the game until I guess I get bored or if I get stuck or whatever. But I did also end up picking the Bard's Tale trilogy for the first three original game. Now the reason why is it was on sale for 50% off, and also it includes all the game now. Before, when you had bought the trilogy, there was a promise to deliver, which means you only got like the first game, and then over time, when the master is done for the other games, they'll add it in your collection. So when you're paying like $40 for the original trilogy, you get it in increments over time, and I guess that's fine. But I just wanted to wait for the full all of them to be offered before I buy the game. And I did buy the trilogy, and I was blown away. They really did a great job of remastering the trilogy. But then again, it's been like almost like 20, 30 years since I last played the Bard's Tale, the original Bard's Tale, and graphically, I don't remember it being this good. So they must be doing something right. I may like see if I still have the old original disc to load it up to, if it runs at all, to see how it compares to the new graphics. But I'm telling you right now, the new HD graphic is just unbelievable. And there's like auto map, which was not included in the original game. That's pretty awesome that they added those features in. And but yeah, like I said, but who actually play these old games except for people like me who like love the original or played the original? I don't think kids these days are gonna care much for games that was originally released in the the 80s or 90s. Nobody wants to play these old games. Yeah, except for old people. So anyway, I'll talk more about the Bards Tale 2 a little later on. But so far, Bards Tale 4, Burrows Deep, is great. I think they should have called it Bards Tale 5 because technically it's the fifth game in the franchise. But they're still calling it Bards Tale 4, and I want to see more of this game. Here's the fight sequence. So you get points on your your skills. So you can only do one of these 4 or 5 skills, and then you have a pool. You have 3. I guess you get a pool of points you can use, and some skills cost more than others. So and then once you use some of them, you're not able to use them for the next 3 or 4 turns as a cooldown period, and you share the points with your teammates. So if I have just 2 or 4 character in my group, we have to all share that action point. So I guess if I had 4 people on my team, I can only probably do 4 movements before I had to end the turn. But it's kind of like I'm getting used to that fighting structure, but it seems to work fine. I don't think I have much of an issue with it. Yeah, other than that, and then if characters are heavily armored, even though it says I do 10 points, I may only do like 3 points if they have the armor to prevent some of the damages from going to the character or the enemies. So yeah, keep that in mind. And but yeah, so far it's combat. It's very easy right now, but like I mentioned, you do run into characters that are just undefeatable at your level. So hopefully hopefully we'll get better equipment or better upgrades to defeat those harder characters. But anyway, but yeah, the enemies are like if you see red, that probably means the enemies are too hard for you to defeat. But if you see green, you can kind of like easily dispatch them. So keep that in mind when you're facing some of these more difficult character. I have tackled on enemies that were kind of like on the level, like either they could kill you or you can defeat them using enough strategy. So it can be done to take on much tougher opponent without without surviving much tougher opponents, I guess. Um, but yeah, but it I guess it depends on your how confident you are on defeating those characters. As long as one of your teammates survives, will survive or everybody survives the battle once you get out of it. So just make sure you have a really tough character in your roster to survive your encounters. But otherwise, like I said, you will have to reload to your last save. But anyway, yep. I'll let you know how it continues, and this is basically my next. This is basically my game that I'm going to be playing for the next probably month or so, or until I get another game. But anyway, thanks for listening. This is Vo with We Heart Music Radio.